Hello friends, I'm Nancy from Simply Quilting. Thanks for joining me today. This is episode 2 of my scrap management plan for this year. In episode 1, I showed you containers like this, and these contain anywhere from a half a yard up to a 1 yard cut of fabric. And I went through all of mine and took out all of the ones that were less than a yard and cut those up into 7.5 and 6.5 inch strips because my bins were getting a little bit low on those. Today I am tackling some of my bags. Now these bags are sorted by color, sort of. And these are just scraps and pieces that I throw in these bags after I make a quilt if I don't have time to deal with them right then. And so what I've done today is I've taken the largest pieces out, the ones that were big enough to cut into strips, wide enough to cut into strips. As you can see, I still have a lot of crumbs left, and I'll have to deal with those at another time. So let me put these away. But these are the ones that I found that I felt were big enough to cut into strips. So I've got them all ironed up and ready to trim. And then today I pretty much got my 6.5 and 7.5 inch bins filled up, but I'm a little bit short on my 5.5 inch strips. So I can show you the inside of that. I mean, there's quite a bit in there, but there's still room for a lot more. So let me show you what I've got in here so far. Now I have room for a lot more stacks because they are getting shorter. They're 5.5 inches now. So here I have my darker fabrics, blacks, grays, dark greens. And here I've got more of my beiges and brown. That one's stuck in there because I didn't know where else to put it. This is a red and I didn't really have a stack for reds, but it's dark, so I put it in there. And then these two stacks are florals, basically florals. These are more the ones that have sort of a pinkish color to them. And these are the ones that have more of a blue or green color tones. If I can get them back in there. And then these are going to be my lights, things that I could use for background. I don't have a lot of those. And then these are going to be my novelty prints. We have chickens and Texas things and schoolhouses, sewing notions, blueberries, kitchen utensils, and kitty cats. So those are all my novelties so far. So as you can see, I've got quite a bit of room left in here, and I may have to recategorize some depending on what I've got over there. But let me get started cutting on those, and then we'll see how full we can get this basket. Now I'll move this basket to this side and I'll cut over here. You can kind of see what I'm doing. And just like in the last video, if I had enough left over for a 2.5 or 3.5 inch strip, I'll save those to put in those particular containers. Alright. So the first thing I'm going to cut is this leopard looking fabric here. And as you can see, I don't have a full selvage to selvage because this came out of a scrap bag. But I still have enough that I can get a decent strip out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. You can probably hear it raining here in North Texas. We are under a freeze watch, ice and snow, but so far we're only getting rain. Alright, so I'm going to my 5.5. Now, if I was to go to the 11, I would get another 5.5 inch, but I don't quite have enough for that. So it looks like this is the only one I'll get. And not sure where this one will go just yet. Let's set it aside. Now, you can see what I have left here. This has a big chunk out of it, but I'm pretty sure I can get a couple of 2.5 inch. So I'm going to cut it on the 5. I'm lining up my blue lines on here. This is my Stripology top ruler. It's not really a Stripology, but it's on the same concept. Alright, so let's go with 5, and then I'll cut that on 2.5. So that will give me 2.5 inch strips. I'll just set them over there. Now this one's a little bit tricky, but I'm going to take that little bit off right there. And then I'll go ahead and fold this in half again. Let's see what I can get out of it. It'll be a shorter strip, but it's still usable with AccuQuilt. And I don't have enough for 5.5, so I'll do 2.5 again. So I'll cut on the 5, and then on the 2.5. So that gives me quite a bit of 2.5 with this. Just put it in my 2.5 strip pile. Alright, next, I think I'm going to go with the yellow next. And I think it's important to press these first. I use a little spray starch and press them. I think this is kind of a light, even though it doesn't have white in it. It would make a good background, I think, for something. And of course, it's not a selvage to selvage piece either. Okay. This looks like it might be good for like a baby quilter. Something soft. Lining up my blue lines, the edge and the fold. Take that, cut it on the 0 line, and then 5.5 and 11. That's as far as I can go with this cutter. That gives me 2 of those. I think I can get one more. And the reason that I'm cutting these into large strips, if I want 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 3.5, 4.5, whatever size blocks, squares I would want, I can just cut these strips into that size if I need them. Also, I can use these with my AccuQuilt cutters. In my cube sets, and I can cut a lot of different shapes out of these. So 5.5. Now, that gives me that one. And then this is not big enough, even for 1.5, I don't think. I'm going to put it in the string category. This is pretty. But as you can see, there are no selvages on this piece. So I'm going to just guess that it's good, because if you're cutting them into shapes with your AccuQuilt, there's really no need to worry too much about straight grain if you can if you can figure it out, that's great. But if you can't, it's no big deal, because we're cutting all kinds of shapes. Okay, there's two, and I'm sure we can get one more of these. Here's my 5.5. Did I put that on 5.5? I think I did, yeah. Alright, that's all of my 5.5s. This one, let's see. I think I can get a 3.5 out of this. And like I said in my first edition of my scrap management, I only save the one right now. I'm only saving strips that are cut in half size pieces. I'm not saving like 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch. Maybe someday when I have more storage space, I will do that. But these are the best for me with my AccuQuilt cutter. Okay, this is a small piece here, but I also have a large piece like this. So I guess we'll start with the small one. I think since I have, let's see, if I cut this into 3.5, that's going to be 1, 2. I can get 3 of those out of this. Or if I go 2.5, I can get 5. I think I'll just go with 2.5 here. Okay, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, and 12.5. That came up perfect. Alright, I've got all of these strips, or strips, not strip sets, for my 2.5 stack. And I guess I would consider this a novelty print. This is a salvage to salvage piece here. So that's a good thing. It says it's a Joanne fabric. Most of these scraps, well, I know these pieces here were given to me. Sometimes I'm not in a guild, but some of the ladies, I am in a quilting group with my church, and some of those ladies are in a guild, and a lot of times ladies will bring, other quilters will bring fabrics up and put them on a giveaway table, and so sometimes the ladies in my church will pick up some of those items and bring them to the church. So that's how I wind up with some of these. I'll go back to my 5.5 now. 5.5 and 11, that gives me 2 strips. And I'm not sure if I can get one more or not. Let's see. Yes. We got 3 out of that one. My stack is starting to add up here. Okay, this is a big one. This is another one that was given to me. I think it was from someone else though, not the guild. And as you can see, it has a big chunk out of it. Someone took a large bite out of this one. Not one of my favorite colors, but I tend to like the more brightly colored things. I don't know if I can get through this many layers, but let me try. No, I don't think I want to try that. I think I'll do it the normal way. I do have a, what do you call it, 60 millimeter cutter, but I haven't had that much experience with it just yet, so I'm not sure about that. I'm going to line up the selvages. Oh, I need to be cutting this direction, don't I? Line up my selvages. And then flip it over this way. I had it totally wrong, didn't I? Okay, that's more manageable. All right. What confused me was the selvages are here and the hearts are going this way, which is really on grain, I think, but I was thinking that if I was cutting this way, the hearts would be going that way, but no. I was thinking wrong. Okay, 5.5, 11. I'm going to put my 3-inch up there because it's in my way. Alright, let's see what we can do here. And a half, 11. Maybe I could pair this up with some other things that I would like a little bit more. I could even use it for a background, I guess. And one more. Now all we have left is this. So I think I'm going to cut this piece off here. Put that in the doggy beds. And then let's see what we get. I think I might be able to get 2 3.5s from this. There's a 0 and a 7 and 3.5. Okay, that can go with my 3.5s. definitely a bunch of that. That's going to go in the dark. Have another large piece. Selvage to selvage. And I'm kind of surprised that I found these in my bags because I usually don't put larger pieces in those. But I must have been in a hurry that day, whatever I used this for. Oops. Missed my target. I'm going to have 11. Might be able to get one more. I guess that could go in strings. It's about an inch or an inch and a quarter. Now this dark I do kind of like because it has little black florals in there. You can match that up with some cute stuff. Alright, here's the, I don't know if this would be considered blue or gray, but whatever. It's not a selvage to selvage piece. It's just a scrap. I think I'll be able to get 3 out of this one. And I sew a lot of scrappy quilts, so I don't have to have a lot of one thing unless I'm putting a background that needs a lot of the same. 5 and a half, 6 and a half, 7. I think I'm just going to even that up, put it in my strings. Because it is a 1 and a half, but I'll stick in the strings for now. I do have a tub with a small tub with 1 and a halves in it, but we'll see. Okay, now I'm down to all of these narrow pieces, but I don't think I can get 5 and a half out of any of these. Maybe these black ones. Did I do one like that? No, it's different. Maybe this one. No, it's, let's see. They're not really even. So I think I'm going to save these for smaller strips. Maybe my 4 and a half or my 3 and a half bins. Save those for another time. Alright, so let's see how we can fit all of these in that we did today. This one is definitely a novelty print with the little bulldogs on it. Goes there. This is a floral, but it's a darker floral. I'm going to call this a light, this light yellow. And this is kind of a real light blue or gray with like little designs in it. I think I'm going to put it in the blues. this one I'm going to put with the browns. And then I've got all of this blue. So I guess it will go in the blues, but I'm going to put it in the bottom. And I'm going to switch these over from blue to pink because there's about the same amount. So my pink will be a little bit fuller. I'm going to put that over there for right now because that stack's getting a little tall. So there's my 5.5 inch bin. Quite a bit fuller than it was. These will go in my 3.5. These will go in my 2.5. So I'll put those where they belong. These will go into my strips, my strings, I'm trying to say. These will go in my string bins, and I have all of those bins over here under my long arm. Now, for the second half of this video, I have a viewer that wanted to see me actually cut some strips into those shapes and then form those into blocks. So I'm going to attempt to do that. I hope I can get my camera set up to where you can see what I'm doing on that. So let me readjust some things, and then I'll show you what I can do with all of that.